Greetings, my friends. I am Dictor Van Doomcock, the future ruler of Earth, and today I come bearing very sad news. As you may have heard or inferred from the title, Rutger Hauer has died at the age of 75. I don't know how to deal with this. I heard this news. I was very sad. And as I thought about it, I thought that a lot of you probably would be sad too, or at least would want to celebrate his life. And I I don't know. I think maybe I made a mistake doing this because as the more I think about it, the sadder I get. You know. But at a time like this, I feel like we should all, a lot of you guys thank me in messages and emails for, kind of being your voice. And I thought that today you would want to go ahead and have your voice, you know? So I thought, in good times and in bad, we go ahead and band together and, so yeah, here we are. Blade Runner is perhaps one of the greatest films ever made. You could arguably say it's the greatest film ever made. It's certainly always in my list of top 10 films, even when that list fluctuates. Blade Runner is one of the things that always I go to. And the very best part of Blade Runner, the beating heart of it, the soul of Blade Runner, was Rutger Hauer's performance as Roy Batty. That movie would be a hollow exercise in style and spectacle if it were not for Rutger Hauer's outstanding and movingly human performance as Roy Batty. He was ostensibly the villain of the piece, but as it turned out at the end, I think we all learned something about what it is to be human from his example. I love it when he is in that battle with Deckard, and Deckard has killed so many of them and killed Pris. He has smeared her blood on his face, and he is a vengeful spirit haunting Deckard until the very end when Deckard is about to die and he reaches out with the hand that he impaled with the spike and catches him and raises him up and puts him down and speaks to him. And I am of the opinion that Deckard was a replicant. I think there's so much evidence for that, and I think Ridley Scott has said as much ultimately. And because Roy has seen things that no one else has, he has a perspective that no one else has, and in his final moments, he wants to share that perspective, and I think that that is perhaps the truest expression of what art is. Trying to, at its best, speak a truth that can't be spoken, to show rather than tell, which is one of the most pernicious things about the wave of propaganda that is replacing our modern myths and entertainment, is that beauty of the unspeakable truth being expressed is lost by the naked brutality of propaganda. He gave perhaps the greatest monologue in film history, and I think perhaps the greatest death scene in cinema history, perhaps one of the greatest moments ever filmed. It was the heart and soul of Blade Runner in that one moment. And I'm just very grateful to Rutger Hauer, very grateful to Ridley Scott, very grateful to the universe itself for presenting us with something as perfect as Blade Runner. There's simply nothing that quite compares to it. It has been widely imitated. It has been a seminal work that has indelibly and permanently marked Hollywood and our culture. And it is a joy to watch. But now, just like Wrath of Khan, now that Leonard Nimoy has passed, watching Blade Runner will now resonate with a magnified poignancy. And his speech that was already so powerful will become almost unbearable in its resonance, in its beauty, in its perfection. Doomcock is not ashamed to say that moments of perfection could move him to tears. I think that you cannot really be said to love cinema or to love art or indeed to love it all if not from time to time you are moved to tears, which are inevitably lost like tears in rain. So I decided that I would just jump on here and get us all together and let us go ahead and talk. As Shakespeare put it, for God's sakes, let us sit upon the ground and tell sad stories of the death of kings, but also let us celebrate his life. I think partially I wanted to do this to make myself feel better, to be among my friends and my family and get out of morbid thoughts of the passage of time and the way that the time steals everything. Rutger Hauer famously improvised some or all of that final speech. For those of you who have seen Dangerous Days, the 3-hour documentary about the making of Blade Runner, you'll know that, I mean, this scene was the last things they shot that night, and daylight was coming, and he really only had time for 1 or 2 takes before the sun came up and ruined everything, which is why in the original cut, the dove, when he dies and he releases it, it flies up into a sky that is turning blue. That was the actual sky above that Warner Brothers backed lot that they transformed into the Los Angeles of the future. And that this man could give such a genuine, perfect, heartfelt performance under such pressure speaks volumes of not only his professionalism, but his depth of commitment and soul. And I will always remember him in that way. He did many, many films, The Hitcher, Lady Hawk, which was wonderful. Hobo with a Shotgun. He would have done Interview with the Vampire. He would have played Lestat, which would have been the greatest casting in the world until Tom Cruise sashayed into the role and deprived us all of what Anne Rice herself thought was the perfect Lestat, Rutger Hauer. Rutger Hauer should have been a much, much bigger star than he was. He should have gotten so many parts. The man was an astonishing actor. And the fact that he didn't, well, he's in good company. Look at Bela Lugosi, who is Hollywood's Dark Prince, the greatest horror actor in history, in my opinion. I know others feel differently. But, greatness is not always rewarded. And yet, what a reward he had to have had the privilege of getting to deliver possibly, certainly, one of the greatest performances in science fiction history. It's like on Star Trek, when in The Ultimate Computer, when they're talking about Richard Daystrom and his early success as the boy genius who invented Duotronics, which is the technology upon which all of Starfleet's instrumentation basically is based, and how Daystrom was frustrated and trying to recapture that glory later in his life. And Kirk said, how much is enough for one lifetime? I think that Rutger Hauer, if he had done nothing else whatsoever, Blade Runner would have cemented his legacy in history. And it has in my heart. And I just want to say, rest in peace, Rutger Hauer. And thank you so, so much for your sensitivity and your brutality, your passion, and your guts for being able to deliver that monologue under fire at the end of the night when the sun was coming up. We are all going to be lost in time like tears in rain. And while that may be sad, there's something glorious in it too. Because really, who wants to live forever? But he will, as long as there are human eyes that can see, as long as there are screens and electricity, Rutger Hauer will live. And that performance will go down in history as one of the greatest of all times. So I've yacked on enough. I want to go ahead now and give you guys your say. And we're going to go ahead and try and celebrate Rutger Hauer's life here in his genius. Excuse me a minute. Because along with sorrow, there's joy. And there's joy that we have Blade Runner. It is nothing but genius, nothing but great moments over and over and over and over again. And God, isn't it lucky to be alive? Isn't it lucky that we have this great movie? That this was made in a time before all of these morons and sycophants and hacks are going around vandalizing and committing arson with our beloved modern myths and our cultural heritage. Thank God. It really is just wonderful to be alive, and I'm glad to be alive here with all of you today. And let's go ahead and see what you guys are saying. Masked Vigilante says another great actor of the old guard has passed on, but he will never be forgotten. I don't know what's sadder, Rutger Hauer's death or lack of actors of his caliber in today's movie industry. Yeah, that is absolutely true. They don't make them like Rutger anymore. Enclave Soldier, he will be missed, absolutely. Lucho Miskifi says R.I.P. Rutger Hauer. Natasha Cloutier, go watch Turkish Delight. Very 70s, very Dutch. Don't just stick with the Hollywood stuff. I would appreciate anyone that can send me some recommendations or something to appreciate Rutger Hauer in non-English films that I've frankly never heard of. You know, I would love to watch them now. Indiana Jeremy, I only knew him from that one role, but it was so good that I'll never forget him as an actor. It always stood out to me. It did. My God, he was incredible in that. It is such an incredible performance where here is this being with a 4-year lifespan and a keen intelligence. And like the rough, fumbling, almost brutal love scene between Deckard and Rachel, where both of them are replicants. And despite his memories of an ex-wife who called him sushi, cold fish, probably never happened. And so when they are having that scene, it's like kids that have never had a kiss before, never had sex, fumbling with new emotions as best that they can. And in that way, Roy Batty transcends his limitations. And in the end, he achieves a Satori. Stephanie B would say nirvana. He achieves enlightenment. And there are many, many religious parallels in that movie. The scene after he kills Terrell and the elevator is descending, and you have that glimpse of the stars through the roof of the elevator, and he is falling from the firmament. He is going down. He is a fallen angel. The look on his face. And then later, redemption, symbolized by the dove and by the spike through his hand, like crucifixion, like stigmata. There's so much symbolism of a redemption of humanity through its creation. Rutger Hauer is the most human person in that film. That is what I mean when I say that art shows and does not tell. Ah, man. Let's see, what else are you guys saying? Josiah Clinch says, I am so sorry for your loss, my lord. I just read it. A moment of silence for him and NASA's Chris Kraft. Ah, what a day. Ever seen Deadlock, also known as Wedlock, a futuristic prison escape movie with Mimi Rogers? No, I have not. May the pulp be with you. I have not. Great in Nighthawks, that's right. RGD963, thank you very much for that. Eric Hawk says, I think if given the chance, RDJ could be nearly that good as well. Robert Downey Jr. If he had the chance to make films of that caliber before Hollyweird fell, we see glimpses of it in Endgame. Glimpses. Yeah. Robert Downey Jr. was also really brilliant in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, which coincidentally has a lot of homages to other films in it. And at the end, it has an homage to Blade Runner in it. When Robert Downey Jr. at the end says, when somebody asks him, I guess you're done, huh? He says, finished. Let us see what you guys are saying in the super chats here. Let's see. Michael Maloney with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Michael. He says, DVD, think not of sadness. This is awake in a celebration of his life. Pass the poteen and sing the songs of life. Brunanji. You're right, Michael. I'm sorry. I don't mean, I just, I think I had to get that off my chest. I had to get some of the sadness out. God, when I mean, when I think of that last scene now, I get choked up, you know. It's so I need to look at other parts of it. And we all do, and I apologize if I got a bit maudlin or morbid or yeah, I'll try to pick it up here, you know, because it really is true. We are so blessed to have him, and that is true on any loss, is that we were blessed to have this in the first place. You know, the poignance of death is that life is so sweet, and we're all alive right this minute. And I am very, very thankful for that. Let's all be thankful for this day and for each other, particularly for each other. I just wanted to be with you guys for a little while. And thank you all for showing up on such short notice. Mark C. with a $2 super chat. Thank you, Mark. He says the greatest monologue in the history of cinema. I agree. I agree. It's the greatest monologue in the history of cinema. And there's just because you know why? It's because it encapsulates so perfectly the moment and the heart of the film to be articulated in so many words in such an indirect way. That is art. That is the difference between art and the kind of soulless corporate propaganda that we are being served today, where you have to feel the meaning of what is being said. On the surface of it, it's almost just an aside. But ultimately, because of the feeling that is imbued into it by Rutger Hauer, by the situation, by the theme of the movie, which is what is it to be human and why does it matter? Just the perfect intersection of all of these things into something that I would describe as magic. Thank you, Mark C. Jigfajigfifi says, 1992 Split Second is my favorite Rutger Hauer movie, an underrated gem of his that deserves more appreciation. R.I.P. Wow, your favorite Rutger Hauer movie. I don't actually believe that I have seen that one, and I'm going to go ahead and make note of that because I think maybe I need to go ahead and maybe do a little Rutger Hauer film festival this weekend. Thank you very much for that suggestion, Jigfijigfifi, and for the super chat. Vulcan Alpha says, Vulcans do not drink, but I believe I will have one in memory of Rutger Hauer. Yeah, I haven't had one. I've got a lot of work to do. today. I was really, really intending this day to be dedicated to Patreon, to going ahead and catching up on messages and reaching out to my folks and putting together their Legionnaire packets. But, when something like this hits, you just have to stop and acknowledge the moment, be in the moment. So, yeah, but I will raise one to Rutger Hauer later on this evening. I still have many, many miles to go here in this day. I've got a lot of work to do. Thank you, Vulcan Alpha. Guard Goldsmith says, in honor of a husband, father, man with creative power in his heart, those lines were what got me to pursue script writing. Thanks, Doomcock. We all can't gather physically, but this is a real relief. Hashtag RIP. Yeah, that's what I kind of felt, Guard Goldsmith. That's why I just jumped on. I just felt like you guys would appreciate a chance to speak your piece. Let's see what you guys are saying here in the chat. Steve Ernest said in an interview, Whoopi Goldberg asked Rutger Hauer why he didn't play more leading men. He said he wasn't offered those roles, which is crazy. I just do not understand it. He was an amazing talent, and I guess he just wasn't politically connected, right? Maybe he just wasn't politically corrected. Adrian Petford, if you could only see what I've seen with your eyes. Amazing actor. R.I.P. Rutger Hauer. Thank you, Adrian. Paul Wright says Rutger Hauer outacted everyone in Blade Runner. Classic. What a talented actor he was, would probably carry a film on his own. Such was the strength of his acting and presence in film. I agree 100%. 100%. Jim Digriz says, also watch Salute of the Jugger, Wedlock, and Wanted Dead or Alive. I will take the time to track those down. Viola Sobieski says, you see this is a fandom and a fan's passion, something we are so very missing these days. Yeah, that is one of the things that is absolutely missing. But not here, not in our hearts, not in the fandom. It's missing in Hollywood. And that is just inexcusable. I just don't understand why such incredible power and privilege should be concentrated in the hands of people who honestly don't give a shit. It breaks my heart. Steve Anderson, Lady Hawk was such a great film, even with the totally out of place synth music soundtrack. It really was. Dominic Russo says, the more I think about it, Blade Runner, the more it saddens me. That was such an iconic end scene. It was just unbelievable. Genius Fool, the Irrefutable says, greatness is seldom rewarded. True words by Doomcock. Everyone, let's reward Doomcock for giving our emotions voice. And thank you for those applause. It's my privilege and it's my duty. You guys have told me how much it means. And on such a day, I just don't really have much time, but I wanted to take that time and give us a chance to get together and talk about this. Purple Lady says, thank you for this touching tribute. R.I.P. Rutger. R.I.P. Rutger. Yes. And thank you, Purple Lady, for being here. Stone Loki says, I saw Lady Hawk when I was 8. I watched it over and over that summer. Told my dad I wanted to be him when I grew up. One of the most epic love stories ever told. My favorite of his movies. High praise. High praise indeed. Let's go back here to our super chats real quick. Thank you, Jig Fajifi, Vulcan Alpha, and Guard Goldsmith for those super chats. Theron Gale is here with a super chat. Thank you very much, Theron, who says, that monologue always reminds me of Tolkien because it just refers to things assuming a character and setting would understand. Really helps give us a sense of scope to the setting, unconfined by the audience's reference point. Yeah, that's a good point, Theron. Um, I think that that monologue, as I said, is like a perfect intersection of of character and theme and plot and the larger reality that we all live in. We are all lost like tears in rain eventually. And we've just got to, like it says in Annie Hall, that doctor says, the universe won't be expanding for billions of years, Alvy. And we've got to have a good time while we're here, huh? Huh? And that's true. We do. And one of the best of times is watching Rutger Hauer in Blade Runner and in Lady Hawk and in these other films. Everyone has a different favorite. It just goes to show that a great actor will appeal to different people at different times on different levels. He was not a one-dimensional actor, and that's probably why he didn't have a bigger career, because Hollywood loves pigeonholes, cliches, and sure bets. Thank you, Theron Gale. Psycho Dwarf 9, thank you for the super chat. He says, we grieve the loss and celebrate the skill, his seat at Odin's table. Hear, hear. He has gone to the pantheon of true greats up there, and especially underappreciated greats. Greatness is seldom rewarded, and it seems like the greatest of us go unremarked in history. Look at Vincent van Gogh, or Van Gogh as he is known more traditionally here in the States. The man was a genius, and he put his heart and soul into his work, and he sold one painting in his lifetime. Wound up dying by his own hand in a world that only appreciated him too late. So all of you struggling artists out there who have not had, quote, success, that does not mean that you are not great. Just bear in mind all the truly great people that were never properly acknowledged in this world, and you will feel not so lonely. You're not alone. Thank you, Psycho Dwarf 9. Rams World with a super chat. Thank you, Rams. Says, I love that you're honoring Rutger Hauer. Been a fan of his for years. I've been a fan of Rutger Hauer all my life, pretty much. I mean, Blade Runner, my God. It was a movie that I saw when I was young, and I did not initially appreciate it very much. You know, I basically wanted Sam Spade in space. I wanted, Philip Marlowe, and I had just seen, Han Solo and Indiana Jones, and I just thought, well, God, this is going to be a rip-roaring space detective adventure. And what I got was infinitely richer, infinitely better. I was too immature and too young to truly appreciate and understand the greatness that I had seen. But thank God, eventually I came around. Yes, yes. Young Doomcock was a bit of a dumbass. I have to fess up. Young Doomcock sometimes didn't know his ass from a goddamn hole in the ground, but thank God I I caught on. Pete 1972 says, so many great movies from the past still deserve more attention. They do. They do. And you guys should really start looking at old movies, start buying old movies on DVD. There's a whole world of greatness out there, world of appreciation. And you don't have to keep throwing your money away on the garbage that Hollywood is shoveling. Instead, you can go ahead and you can get out there and you can discover the thousands of great works out there that you've never seen. For God's sakes, do yourself a favor. Watch some great movies. Watch some great movies. Stop wasting your money on shit like Disney crap and the latest, you know, I mean, God, I mean, I can't catch a break today. Uh, I've got so much to do, and then here we come with 3 stories that are absolutely earth-shaking. Kate Mulgrew has been cited in an article attacking Roddenberry in the original Star Trek for being misogynist. Misogynist. The nerve of that stupid nothing to say that Star Trek is misogynist. Unbelievable. So I was enraged by that, and I was getting ready to make a video, and then I find out that Rutger Hauer has passed, which trumps everything. And then before I come on, I see an article that D Artist Jewelry actually forwarded to me. Thank you, D, for that. That said that She-Thor is going to be fighting Doctor Doom in the next Thor movie. Doctor Doom. They're not only turning Thor into a woman, but they're now going to inject Doctor Doom, a Fantastic Four villain, into the goddamn movie so that She-Thor can beat up on a toxic male. This is my life. This is, I am racked today with sorrow and rage in so many different directions, and I have so much to do for my patrons. I don't know which end is up right now. I'm just that it said it was a rumor, but my God, if they did that, it is just a blasphemy. So yeah, and for those of you who don't know, Kate Mulgrew played the lamest captain of all, Captain Janeway, and she has the balls to piss on the legacy of a great man like Gene Roddenberry. It was absolutely it just enraged me. It made me sick. It made me absolutely sick. Uh, I mean, I will go ahead and read the headline at Radio Times was that Star Trek's original series was misogynist, says Kate Mulgrew. To which I replied, anyone stupid enough to ignore the historical context of Star Trek and denigrate it as sexist when it was in fact groundbreaking is beneath contempt. Fuck you, Kate. Roddenberry did more to fight for equality when doing so was hard than you ever will. This world, but the reason I even raised this is addressing what you said, which is that, there's a whole world of great old movies out there just waiting to be rediscovered. And I suggest that you get your ass to whatever video store you can find. Start looking through used bookstores and stuff. Start watching old movies that actually have plot and acting and heart. And stop throwing your money at Star Trek Picard, or as I call it, Star TP, or She-Thor or Captain Marvel. Stop mindlessly consuming all the swill that Hollywood is throwing at you and go back to getting entertained by real movies. They're out there, people. They're out there. They're out there, and they deserve your eyes, and they deserve you to pass these films on to your kids and to the future of our civilization, because this is our cultural heritage. These are our modern myths. Where there's greatness in the world, it's your responsibility to find it and to make sure that it doesn't get snuffed out. Jester's Sketchbook, what is a video store? Yeah, sadly. But I tell you what, when there's no more video stores and you're relying on the cloud, just think, clouds can dissipate. Clouds can be dispersed. Clouds can go away. And if you rely entirely on digital copies in the cloud, those copies can be edited, they can be revised, or they can be deleted and forgotten. And you don't think that Hollywood would go ahead when they're doing the latest round of remakes and want to delete the originals so that they don't have the competition? You think that, you're naive. You are naive. Yeah. But anyway, this is really about Rutger Hauer. I just wanted to point out that what you said is very wise, that go watch more old movies. They won't let you down. They won't let you down. Teresa Martin with a super chat here. Thank you, Teresa. Says his scenes in Lady Hawk still haunt me. He showed such raw emotion. R.I.P. He certainly did, Teresa. He, what a soulful actor who could also exude genuine menace. I don't understand how Hollywood could have passed him up. I just don't understand it. I think maybe he just chose the wrong vehicles. You know, he should have maybe, I don't know. I mean, he's got to eat. He's got to eat. But maybe he should have. I just wish he'd been lucky enough to get another iconic role quickly, and that would have cemented his stardom, and we would have seen a lot more Rutger Hauer in Hollywood. But there's a whole bunch of movies in his native tongue that are out there, and let's track them down. Let's share them. You know, tweet them at me. I'll tweet them out. You know, let's have a Rutger Hauer revival here. I think that would be awesome. Thank you, Teresa. Guard Goldsmith with another super chat. Thank you, Guard. Says, one more thing. When my dad passed, one of the pieces we played was Tears in Rain from the Blade Runner soundtrack. Those words are a concise distillation of life, happiness, and the end. R.I.P. I agree, Guard. I think that's a wonderful memory to share. Thank you very much. And I would add to that Tears in Rain is also about peace. About peace. Because in the end, the smile on his face is he's just remembering the glory of the things that he's seen and the glory of life. And a lot of you guys, sadly, have not seen the original cut of Blade Runner with Deckard's narration in it, which is my personal favorite. I mean, I would combine the final cut with the original narration. But at the end, he's watching Rutger Hauer in the rain, dying. And he says, I don't know why he let me live. Maybe in the end, he just loved life. Not just my life, all life. And that, I think, is a incredible moment where he transcends, where Rutger Hauer's Roy Batty transcends. And even a replicant catches a glimpse of the glory of creation. Thank you, Guard Goldsmith. That's a beautiful memory there. The DCV Titan, thank you for the super chat, sir. Says Rutger got to voice the protagonist in the game Observer. which felt pretty much like a Blade Runner game. Makes me wonder how the movie would have been had he been cast as Deckard. Um, I think the movie wouldn't have been as good. DCV Titan, honestly, it's really not the size of the role so much as the quality of it. And I think that really Harrison Ford's rumpled character of Deckard was really perfect, a perfect foil for Rutger Hauer's Roy Batty. I don't uh, I think that Deckard was a part that should not exude empathy. And Rutger Hauer had such depth in his performance. I think he would have brought that depth to Deckard, and I think it might have thrown the movie off because really, it's like Deckard says in the opening narration, which a lot of you have not heard. They don't advertise for killers in the newspaper. That was my job. Ex-Blade Runner, ex-cop, ex-killer. Sushi. That's what my ex-wife called me. Cold fish. So he was a cold fish. He was a replicant. We assumed he was just kind of a hard guy, but he was a replicant. He had no real emotional responses, but he learned them in the movie, in the course of the movie, just like Roy Batty did, just like Rachel did. These were created beings doing their very best in a world that was never intended for them. And they're doing their best to make do with the life that they have. I love it at the end. One of the worst parts of the original cut and one of the best parts of the original cut is the very end when they're driving out on the highway and it's beautiful. It's sunny, the sky, the mountains, everything. It's like a whole other movie. And indeed, they used stock footage that they borrowed from The Shining. You know, when you had that opening shot, helicopter shots of the hills in the opening as they're driving to the Overlook Hotel. They popped that in because they wanted a more upbeat ending. So it's terrible in that regard. It's terrible in terms of visuals. But the narration at the end when they're in the car and Deckard says something along the lines of Rachel was different. She had no expiration date. We didn't know how long we had. Who does? And for me, that line makes up for that horrible tacking on of a happy ending. That line. That's one of the reasons I so love the original cut, because of his dialogue, which harkens back to Gav's line, doesn't it? It's too bad she won't live, but then again, who does? And by the way, Edward James Olmos, the day that he passes, I will weep. His gaffe may be the second greatest performance in that movie. And his portrayal of Admiral Adama is always going to be so near to my heart. Edward James Olmos is another one of the true greats of cinema. Thank you, DCV Titan. Paul Wilkinson, thank you for this very generous super chat. Paul, he says, we all feel great pain at this sad news. We were blessed to have his great contribution. Thanks, Rutger. We were blessed to have you. Thank you, Great One, for so beautifully honoring this great man. Thank you, Paul. I thank you, guys. I'm just speaking from the heart, and yeah, man, it's just hard. It's just hard. I don't want to. I'm happy. I'm happy that we had him, but I'm very sentimental at heart. You wouldn't think so, but I am, and yeah, what a thing of beauty was his performance in a thing of beauty itself, which was Blade Runner. It's just, you know, we're lucky. We're so lucky to have had him. And Gene Roddenberry, there is no proof that Deckard was a replicant. I beg to differ, Gene. For those of you who are my Xanadu ears at patreon.com/doomcock, I have a full-length movie commentary on Blade Runner for my Legionnaires. It's what it is I sync up the movie and I just comment to the whole thing. It's like having my commentary on the disc. And listen, Deckard was a replicant. There's just no doubt about it. His coldness in the movie, the fact that every single replicant at some point or another in the movie turns to the camera and has those red eyes. Deckard has those. The fact that he dreams of the unicorn and then Gaff folds the unicorn origami, says that Gaff has seen Deckard's file, has seen the implanted memory of the unicorn. And so when he leaves that origami unicorn outside the door of Deckard's apartment, Gav is saying that he not only spared Rachel, but he spared Deckard. And at the end, when he says, "You've done a man's work, sir. I guess you're done, eh?" Finished. That says it all, in my opinion. He was definitely a replicant. Definitely a replicant in my book. Respectfully, I disagree. That is the case I would make for it. Cold Fusion Waffles, thank you very much for the super chat. Cold Fusion Waffles, he says, Omega Doom was always my favorite movie. Low budget, but it had action plus the comedy of what they did with Iron Face's body and Who Got Her Body, which wouldn't be okay nowadays. Nickel I.O. Harvey. Well, damn it. This is another movie that I don't know anything about. I will go ahead and pop this sucker in as well. I need to know. I need to see this movie. God damn. Another Rutger Hauer movie I have not seen. Omega Doom. Gotta see it. Got to see it. Sounds great. Thank you for that suggestion. And thank you, sir, for that super chat. And thank you for being here to celebrate with us. And yeah, it's okay to disagree with me on whether Deckard was a replicant. It's one of the great debates in history, but I clearly see it. I clearly see it. If Deckard is not a replicant, then he's basically a rapist for that love scene with Rachel, where it's like, now kiss me, and now say you want me, and all this stuff. I mean, but it is excusable if he is struggling with feelings that he's never expressed before and acting out a sexuality that has never been acted out before, despite his phony memories. So it explains an awful lot about Deckard and his character. And in my book, he's a replicant. That's all I can do is present the case as I see it. Thank you very much, Cold Fusion Waffles. Guard Goldsmith, thank you for this super chat. Guard, he says, another thing, while in LA, I got to know Eric Red, writer of The Hitcher, and he was blown away by Mr. Hauer's performance. That was the film Roger Ebert reconsidered, finally saying it was great. Now, that is a film that, God, I cannot actually remember if I've seen it or not. I was aware of it. I think maybe I saw it at some point, but definitely worth a rewatch. I'm going to go ahead and check it out. I think I may have seen it, but I was quite young. I don't recall. I've certainly not seen it since. So I will check that out. Guard Goldsmith, thank you very much. I guess, geez, if the writer of The Hitcher was blown away by Hauer's performance, that's good enough for me. I got to check it out. I got a lot of watching to do to catch up. Only now that he's gone, well, that happens, right? Look at Van Gogh. Only after he was gone did he become perhaps the most famous painter in history, and rightly so. I got to go see an exhibition of his in Houston, and I mean, and it still may be on, you guys. If any of you are in Houston, there was I mean, I don't know if it's gone yet, but they had gathered so many works of Van Gogh together. It was an incredible exhibition, and yeah, it moved me greatly seeing this man whose genius was so utterly unrewarded and unappreciated. I just thank God he had Theo, his brother, you know. Dayhawk666. Thank you, Dayhawk, very much for the super chat. He says, I felt the same when Christopher Lee died. It broke my heart. I didn't understand why it affected me so much. I told you this on my letter, if you remember. Yes, I do remember, Dayhawk. Yeah, your letter was really wonderful. And yeah, it's just a shame of mine that I haven't been able to respond to it. I've meant to. I mean, I did thank you for the gift and the letter, but I've been meaning. I don't know. Maybe I even did answer it. I can't. That's how much work I do. Sometimes I even get confused of what I've actually done and what I haven't. I mean, it's endless, and I apologize to anyone who has ever written me and I haven't replied. It's not that I don't care. It's not a lack of will. It's a lack of time and a lack of ability. But I will keep trying. So please keep writing to me. Keep giving me a chance to make things right. Thank you, Dayhawk666. I understand entirely what you mean. This speaks to how these stories matter so much to us. I keep talking about it, that it's our cultural heritage, it's our modern myths, but even more than that, it really is truly the fabric of our lives. Some of us know these movies and these moments and these characters as well as we know people in our own family. Sometimes even better, because in hard times or in times of need, Star Trek and Star Wars are there for us. Some have even said that I have been there for them, that I have helped people through dark times, unknowingly, entirely unknowingly. And that always makes me happy. That always makes me feel like, like, Scotty, you've earned your pay for the week. It's like, it's not something I ever intended, and the fact that it just happens that way means the world to me. I never, ever in the wildest dreams thought that I would actually make any kind of real difference to anyone, I mean, emotionally. But those are the kinds of differences that Captain Kirk made to me. Rutger Hauer, Humphrey Bogart, Bela Lugosi, Luke Skywalker. All of these moments are so meaningful in a way that these corporations can't understand, that when you raise those memories to the ground, where you're burning some of us, you're burning part of our lives. And so, Dayhawk, when Christopher Lee died, it meant something to you. I think perhaps in a real way, when we weep for Christopher Lee or Rutger Hauer, we're weeping for ourselves. We're weeping for a part of our lives that are the poignance of time passing, of loss. Even though I can go and put on Blade Runner right now, I can track down the Hitcher and I can watch Lady Hawk, It's just moving to know that the world is a little bit less without him. Does it make any immediate difference to my day-to-day life? No. But to my dreams, to my heart, it does matter. Doesn't matter that I never met the man. I knew his work. His work touched me. And that is the beauty of art. And that's why I fight so hard for it. Thank you, Dayhawk. I understand. Psycho Dwarf 9 with a super chat. Thank you, Psycho Dwarf 9, for that. He says, a martial artist hits the stage where they stop seeing people, we see targets. The stage past that is cherishing all people, even or especially the ones you don't know. Oh, that's beautifully said. The stage past that is cherishing all people, even or especially the ones you don't know. Well said, sir. Thank you. Uh, Astasia, Astasia, with a couple of super chats. Thank you very much, Astasia, who says, check out Monologue in Knocking on Heaven's Door. I will check that out. Thank you. I tell you what, I love that song. I love Dylan's version of that song. It's just incredible. It's actually one of my favorite songs. Just so spare, so minimal, but so haunting. Knocking on Heaven's Door. I will check that out. Thank you, Astasia. Logan Darklighter, thank you for the super chat. Says anecdotal, but from everything I've heard, Rutger Hauer was one of those men who play heavies, but was a truly nice guy off camera. A gentleman in the truest sense of the word. A gentle man. That is anecdotal, but I've heard the same kinds of things. You know, I don't think that Rutger Hauer could have put that sparkle in Roy Batty's eye if he was not a man of many dimensions. He could exude the menace, but he could also exude that passion and that gentleness, because he allows us to see that part of him when he saves Deckard. And I think maybe that's one of the things that we respond to is that kindness, that gentleness. That's why we can really buy it when he saves Deckard. It doesn't seem out of the blue. It doesn't seem, see, that's the thing. These damn writers these days, these ones that create these Mary Sues that have these character traits that are never earned, but it's you could make a case that, oh, that's so phony that he's tried to kill Deckard, he's tried to kill Deckard, he's tried to kill Deckard, and then at the end he saves him just so we can have a happy ending. Well, no, because it's earned, because we see it, because we get glimpses of a multi-dimensional, very well fleshed out performance by Rutger Hauer that tells us it's true. What we're seeing on screen is real because it's from the heart. And none of this crap these days is from the heart. It's all calculated. It's from the spreadsheet. It's from the marketing department. There are always exceptions to this. There are still, from time to time, great movies being made. A lot of them are put right on Netflix or made for HBO or things, mostly basically on television. The best work these days is on TV because the stakes are not as high and they give artists a chance to breathe. But it is the genuine quality of the acting and the writing all coming together to create a work of art that has integrity and no political agenda whatsoever. None. God, I miss those days. Let's see what you guys are saying over here in the chat. Trying to scrolling real fast. Let me see if I can catch up to where you are. Hecate's daughter. Please don't start talking about Robin Williams. Absolutely, I won't. It's so sad. Brian Creans, I still listen to the Blade Runner soundtrack from time to time. Shame they didn't use Vangelis for that, in my humble opinion, crappy sequel. Yeah. Well, Brian, I haven't seen it. People have urged me to see it. They said it's a worthy sequel. And I have no doubt that it is done with a certain degree of integrity and quality. It may be crappy. I mean, the verdict is out on that. But I tell you what, I cannot risk my memory and love of Blade Runner just in pursuit of a new Blade Runner high, like a junkie running to see the sequel because I want to revisit that world. If anything happened in that movie that hampered or diminished my memory of Blade Runner, it would have absolutely, it would be crushing to me. It would be crushing. Never, ever go see a sequel to a movie that you deeply love as much as Blade Runner, lest you risk having your memory or appreciation of the original diminished in some way. I might have gone to see it. I would have gone to see it if it didn't have Deckard in it. If it didn't have anything to do with telling us the end of Rachel's story or Deckard's story, then okay, fine. I don't mind going and seeing something set in that universe. But I do mind another movie trying to put a tag on the end of Blade Runner. That I cannot do. I just love this movie too much. Reverend Benfried Axfielder says, "Don't cry, my friend. We will take over the world and then make Rutger Hauer mandatory viewing for school kids." I like the way you think. We will show Blade Runner in schools. Instead of French class today, kids, instead of Spanish class, instead of geometry or algebra, we're going to show you Blade Runner today, give you some value for your money. Absolutely. I love Jaws, by the way. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Robert Shaw as Quint in Jaws is another great, great, great monologue. Talking about those fish's eyes. It got those black soulless eyes that rolled back in his head. Ooh, what a great scene that was. What an absolutely, absolutely great scene. Otter Vomit says, loved him in Fatherland. He brought gravity to what otherwise might have been a forgettable, cheesy TV movie. I've not seen that one either, but thank you for sharing that. Yeah, Pete 1972. My two favorite monologues of film are the Roy Batty monologue from Blade Runner and the Quint USS Indianapolis monologue from Jaws. 110%. Yeah. Orchnestra, work calls again. Hope you can keep it in good spirits through this. Take care, all. Yes. Yes. I'm committed. Oh, and I see Nerdrotic is in the house. Gary, hello. Good to see you, my friend. I don't know, dude. If you wanted to pop on, I'd be happy to shoot you a link. I didn't want to intrude on you, and I figured you had your other stuff going, and this was, like I said, not at all planned. I just I saw this, and I just had to jump on. I was feeling a heavy heart, and I knew others would be too, and I just wanted to do this real quick. But Gary, if you'd like to jump on, you're very welcome to. Yeah. Bye, Marcus Jose. All right. Oh, you're welcome, Mike. Thank you guys for showing up. And tomorrow we have Exozone, by the way, just so you guys know. It'll be over on Gary's channel. We're going to talk about weird stuff. So it'll be A lot of fun. Zone. Um, let's see what we got here. Um, we've got Mike Maloney. Thank you for the super chat. Says, I hate to say it, but he was not the Holly Weird type. Too European. He was much bigger across the pond. Well, I got to skip across the pond and find some of his movies because I am sadly and woefully ignorant of all of his foreign body of work, which is a absolute damn shame. Absolute damn shame. And that's my bad. That is absolutely bad on me. Da, da, da. Well, I tell you, Gary may have just popped in and popped out, but I'll just go ahead and send him one. He can come or not. Listen, I don't expect him to. He's a very busy guy, just like I am. I mean, I was absolutely not going to live stream today. Oh God, I've got so much to do. But I just I couldn't let this go. I couldn't let this go without saying something, and I knew you guys wanted to say something too. So anyway, I'll shoot him the link, and he can just pop on or not as he sees fit. All right, it's away. To quote another great movie that has sadly been diminished by all the crap. All right. We've got Ryan Ferguson. Thank you very much, Ryan, for the super chat. He says, Hail, Lord Doomcock. Do you think Picard will be any better than Discovery? What's your thought on Data and Seven of Nine joining? Keep up the good work. Okay. Well, I am not going to spill breaking news that I have been given. And Gary has sent a message. He says, sorry, I can't. I'm stepping out. Thank you, though. If I wasn't about to get Junior, I would. Nerdrotic Junior, of course. Very cool kid. Great stream. I will be listening. Thank you, Gary. Yeah, you're always welcome, Gary, anytime. God, Gary's great. Yeah, so I've heard news. I don't want to say what it is. I'm still mulling what to report of it. I do not report everything I hear. But it is possible that CBS is doing a radical reversal of course, and it is possible that they are actually going to do the reshoots, revisions necessary to completely de-Kurtzmanize Picard. I do not know this at all for a fact. As far as I know at this juncture, it is still a shit show of galactic proportions. But if this is true, this could definitely reverse the Kurtzmanization of the entire franchise and maybe, just maybe, save it. So for the first time, and this could be total bullshit, this could be pie in the sky wishful thinking, and I'm not going to report any of the details right now, but for once, I think maybe there's a glimmer of genuine hope. We will see. But Ryan Ferguson, I'm as stunned as anyone, but this may actually, they may right the ship. I know. It's absolutely stunning. I mean, I gotta tell you, it is going to take a Herculean effort, but the rumor for once is positive that they may be willing to do it. Shadow Broker, I think your hope is misguided, Doomcock. Well, you haven't heard the information that I've heard. Now, I mean, this is from my source, and this is rumor, but my source is actually cautiously expressing some modicum of optimism. Tarantino's Star Trek is not going to happen, Twopi. I do not believe Tarantino's Star Trek is going to happen. But again, you know, there's so many veils of corporate secrecy. There's active disinformation efforts. It is extremely difficult to read the tea leaves of CBS. I have always reported only the things that I felt passed the sniff test. But even then, you get versions of things, you get half truths, you get planted disinformation. But for once, this news is maybe good. War and Roar, that would be wonderful because all this woke garbage the past few weeks have been unbearable. Oh God, I know it. Oh my God, I know it. Reverend Bernfried Axwilda says they gave Superman to J.J. Abrams. Of course, Tarantino Trek will happen. Not so fast. Not so fast. Like I said, I've heard all sorts of stuff is happening at CBS if this information is correct. And yesterday, someone in my chat on my last live stream, which I need to still upload to the Harvey Zone. I apologize. I was going to do it. I was about to do it. And then all this stuff broke and I totally got sidetracked. Said that the Bad Reboot basically missed their deadline to get a movie in production by that deadline, and thus Jar Jar Abrams' Trek movie license has expired. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what was said in the chat. And then I'm hearing other things that make me think that maybe, maybe CBS is now finally about ready to quote Popeye and say, "That's all I can stand. I can't stand this no more." So it is possible. It is possible. Bad Reboot will destroy Superman. I feel it. Absolutely. If you've read his script, it was terrible. So he's going to dust that script off and shove it right back up our asses. Isn't that wonderful? Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Random Nerd of Doom. Hello. Penis Virgina says JJ will destroy Superman and Green Lantern. Oh, that's a given. JJ destroys everything he touches. So Ryan, that is my answer for you, sir. And thank you for the super chat. Dominic Russo, thank you very much for the super chat. You didn't say anything, but I do appreciate the support. Same thing with Paul Wright, who gave me a very nice super chat here. Thank you very much, Paul. I appreciate that. Very kind of you. He also didn't say anything. Thomas Coulter with a super chat. Thank you, Thomas. He says, I loved him in Blind Fury and Hobo with a Shotgun. Who'd have thought that Hobo with a Shotgun would be a great movie? But yeah, it's something kind of special, isn't it? Thank you, Thomas. And thank you for being here, my friend. Darth Gavel with a super chat and a very good message for us all. Thank you, Darth. He says, my Lord Doomcock, dwell not on death, dwell instead upon life, love, and comedy. May I suggest Rosencrantz and Guildenstern? If you guys haven't seen Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, go ahead and check it out. It is, I believe, a play by, is it by Tom Stoppard? I can't remember the name of the author. It might be Tom Stoppard. Anyway, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern were, of course, Hamlet's buddies, minor parts in Hamlet. And so this is kind of like Hamlet told from their point of view. It's something of a comedy, and I would recommend it. Check it out. Watch some funny stuff. If you're looking for something to raise your spirits today, my favorite funny movies of all time, if you want to laugh and rediscover the joy of life, I would suggest that you go ahead right now and sit down and do a festival of The Court Jester with Danny Kaye. One of the greatest movies ever made, one of my personal favorite comedies. Oh my God, it is wonderful, beautiful, shot in Technicolor with Basil Rathbone as the villain, and a lot of great swords play and a lot of comedy from Danny Kaye. I would say The In-Laws, the original In-Laws with Peter Falk and Alan Arkin. Alan Arkin and Peter Falk, comedy gold. Comedy gold. They're the best comedy duo in history. I know that's bold with Abbott and Costello and Laurel and Hardy, but my God, their timing and everything. The In-Laws, one of the funniest damn movies you will ever see. The Blues Brothers, a movie that I did a DVD commentary on at patreon.com/doomcock. Check it out. It is pound for pound the most destruction of vehicles in any movie. One of the funniest damn things you will ever see. Monty Python and the Holy Grail is the holy grail of comedy. It is absolutely fantastic. And if you are looking for a great obscure comedy, one of the best is something called The President's Analyst with James Coburn. It is from 1967, I think. It is a Cold War comedy of paranoia and insanity. It is almost like a comedy Bond film in a way. It is full of counterculture paranoia. Hard to track down, but if you can find The President's Analyst, oh my God, you will thank me. And I guess finally, I would say The American Astronaut, one of the weirdest, coolest movies ever made, a kind of spiritual follow-up. I think it was inspired, definitely somewhat inspired by the Oingo Boingo's Forbidden Zone. So these films, you watch them, they will absolutely raise your spirits and cheer you up. Thank you, Darth Gavel. Matthew Anderson, thank you for the super chat. Says Blade Runner is one of my all-time favorites as well. Absolutely. My idea of my top 10 list of greatest movies of all time fluctuates. It fluctuates with my mood. Oh yes, Airplane. Airplane, absolutely. Young Frankenstein, absolutely. And of course, Blazing Saddles. So I would absolutely pop those movies in as well. Well said, you guys. Thank you for the chat. The Mystic Knights of the Oingo Boingo. Yes, exactly. Also a movie called What's Up, Doc by Peter Bogdanovich is a wonderful screwball comedy that you guys would enjoy as well. What was I saying? Yeah, my favorite movies fluctuate, but Blade Runner is always there. Blade Runner and Casablanca and Lawrence of Arabia. Absolutely. Thank you, Matthew Anderson. Darth Gavel, my meaning is life is way too short. Time enough. Fiery the angels fell. Deep thunder roared along their shores, burning with the fires of Orc. Yes, yes, time enough. That is the message of Blade Runner, I think. We didn't know how long we had. Who does? Thank you, Darth Gavel, for that super chat. Steele Johnson, thank you for the super chat. Says, just saw this. No. I wish just saying no would fix it, Steele Johnson, but it's true. It has happened. And it's a very sad thing indeed. But it is also joyous that we are gathered here today, my friends, at this wake to celebrate and just to be together, huddle together around the fire, tell sad stories of the death of kings. Thank you, Steele Johnson. Nicholas Horton with a super chat here. Thank you, Nicholas. Says Hollywood has gone to the effing dogs. It absolutely has. My God. She-Thor fighting Doctor Doom. A villain that She-Thor, it doesn't really have the right to fight, does she? Really doesn't have the right to fight. Not at all. It's just so inappropriate. It's so stupid. And they want to take the ultimate toxic male in the Marvel comic universe and have him get his ass whipped by She-Thor, Jane Foster. That is one movie I do not think. Look, Marvel Phase 4, yeah, y'all, you can keep it. I think I'm just going to pass on that. I really have no desire to see that crap at all. Thank you, Nicholas Horton. Angel Angelus, thank you so much for this super chat. It's very generous of you, sir. And says, I'm sad to say I didn't know him that well, but I know his work. This is to you what the passing of Christopher Lee, Sir Christopher Lee, was to me. R.I.P., Mr. Rutger. Your works will live on, thus you are immortal. Well said, my friend. Angel Angelus, yes, the passing of Sir Christopher Lee. What an icon. From Dracula to Lord of the Rings to Star Wars to The Wicker Man, which may be one of his greatest performances, frankly. I believe he was also in To the Devil a Daughter. He was just in a lot of things. A really talented, brilliant man, very articulate. I'll never forget him on Saturday Night Live. He hosted an episode of Saturday Night Live, and it fell to him to introduce the musical act for that episode, who was Meatloaf. And he went on, and in his erudite way, he said, "And now, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Loaf." And the camera held on him, and he looked off camera, and he was a little flustered. And he goes, "Oh, I'm terribly sorry. I mean, Meatloaf." It was very, very endearing to see Dracula stammering and being so genteel and such a gentleman. It was so cool to see Sir Christopher Lee with his guard down like that. It was very charming, actually. Thank you, Angel Angelus. Dr. Coffin Nails, thank you very much for the super chat. Says, just got on, heard the horrible news Jar Jar Abrams. Oh, yes. Well, the horrible news about Jar Jar Abrams was, of course, that he has gotten the keys to the kingdom of Warner Brothers, that they were stupid enough to go ahead and hire his dumb ass for $500 million to go ahead and wreck every goddamn intellectual property they've got. And Warner Brothers has historically been my absolute favorite movie studio. God knows, I mean, Casablanca, Robin Hood, Maltese Falcon. Warner Brothers was always kind of the noir film studio in the past. They, did Looney Tunes. I have a really big soft spot in my heart for Warner Brothers. It breaks my heart to think that the damage that Jar Jar Abrams is going to do to them, but they asked for it. They signed up for it. So, it's your nickel, Doc. It's your nickel, Warner Brothers. So, yeah, good luck with Jar Jar. Good luck with that. Thanks, Dr. Coffin Nails. Steele Johnson, thank you very much again, sir, for the super chat here. He says, while all will remember him as Roy, I will remember him as Navarre from the first movie I saw him in, Lady Hawk. All of us are going to have different Rutger Hauer memories and moments that we'll treasure. And I think it's a testament to the man that with such a limited career in Hollywood, he made such an impression. So bravo, Steele Johnson. I tell you what, I haven't seen Lady Hawk in, God, I don't know how long. Another one I'm going to reacquaint myself with this weekend. Thank you, Steele Johnson. A Gralock with a kind of weird version of Garfield as his avatar, with a little super chat here, and it doesn't say anything, but you know what? No super chat is small or large in my book. Every single bit helps, and I appreciate you very much, Gralock. Thank you for being here. Thank you for that contribution. It keeps them proverbial lights on here at the channel and keeps us all going. Thank you, sir, very much. Dr. Coffin Nails again with another super chat. Thank you. Says, seen Hobo with a Shotgun, better than it sounds. Yeah, I have. I love that kind of stuff. I love grindhouse stuff. I love, that kind of, exploitation-y kind of movie. And hell yeah, Hobo with a Shotgun. What a wonderful role. What a wonderful movie. Thank you very much, Dr. Coffin Nails. I hope a lot of you guys will spare a moment this weekend or even this week to just take a moment and maybe watch one of your favorite Rutger Hauer movies. Just to remember the guy. I remember when Leonard Nimoy passed, and I went ahead and watched Wrath of Khan, and when it came to his death scene, it was absolutely wrenching. But that kind of thing can be cathartic, go ahead and let those emotions out and clear the air and move on, and also just pay what better respect can you pay an actor than to watch your favorite performance of his again. Thank you, Dr. Coffin Nails. Captain Spire, thank you, Captain Spire, very much for this very large super chat. I very much appreciate it. Who says, painfully ironic how we watch old movies and shows. They depict a frightening future we said could and would never happen. Now we look back at old shows, say they are obsolete when they are more relevant than ever now. Yes, well said. I think it's one of the most pernicious features of SJWs these days, their paucity of imagination, their inability to see things in a metaphoric way, in a poetic way. They look at movies, old movies, black and white movies, stop motion classics like Ray Harryhausen used to make, and they say, oh, phony. Well, those are cheap. Oh, the bridge of the Enterprise, it's like cardboard. To which I say, thank you for exposing how hollow you are in imagination and soul. Every time I hear an SJW bitch and whine about how they can't watch Star Trek because the effects are so phony, I just laugh at them, and I see how completely devoid of passion, of romance, of magic that their lives are. That they are so impoverished of spirit that they have to be literally shown everything. They cannot fill in any gaps. They cannot make that imaginative suspension of disbelief, that leap to lose themselves in the magic of film. I pity them. I really pity them. They are so hollow. I don't know how you can watch something like King Kong and not have your heart be tugged, not feel a lump in your throat, not just at the fate of Kong, but the beauty of the artistry of what is on the screen. I don't understand it. I cannot process people like that. But that is why, another reason why they're destroying our heritage and our past. It's because they don't have the spark, that divine spark that we have. They don't have the ability to bridge that gap between what is on the screen and their own imaginations. And so they live very, very impoverished lives, at least inside where it counts. Thank you, Captain Spire. Michael Maloney, my Legionnaire and friend. Thank you, Michael, for the super chat. He says, DVD, check out community page on Patreon. Some stuff might give you a laugh. Dude, I wanted to be on Patreon all day today. That was all I was going to do. And I'm heading there as soon as I finish this. I've just got to spend more time with you guys, and I'm going to get on that as soon as I conclude this live stream. Thank you, Michael. I will be on there, and I will be in touch, my friend. Thank you all of my Legionnaires, villains, rogues, and vagabonds at Xanadoom at the center of the earth, at patreon.com/Doomcock and subscribestar.com/Doomcock. Really appreciate you guys so much, more than I can say. Thunder Robots is here with a super chat. Thank you, Thunder Robots, who says, here's something scary. In the Andy Griffith show, there was an episode where Aunt Bee and her friends were being SJWs. SJWs have been around since then. Wow, that's weird. I'd have to see that. I don't know. Well, weird, Thunder Robots. I don't know. Send me a link. I'll go ahead and take a look at that, but that's creepy as hell. That is creepy as hell. Mayberry, undermined by SJWs. Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Woo, got a shudder. Mexican Iron Man, thank you for this super chat, my spy, Legionnaire, and friend, who says, one of the great original movies and actors and performances, and it's sad because replacements for the great ones are rare to non-existent these days. Rest in peace. Thank you, Mexican Iron Man. Couldn't agree more. Thank you so much for that super chat and for that sentiment. Yeah. Where are the next great actors coming from? I get they're going to be found on TV if they're going to be found anywhere. There's this kid on Animal Kingdom on TNT. Great show. If you guys are not watching Animal Kingdom, it's absolutely fantastic. And this kid, he plays a character, Jay. Swear to God, this kid ought to play young James T. Kirk in a movie. Such a rare combination of gravitas and he doesn't really get much of a chance to express a sense of humor in the role, but when he does, I swear to God, this kid, he could be the next Shatner. I'm telling you. Check out Animal Kingdom if you haven't seen it on TNT. Great show. Logan Darklighter, thank you very much for the super chat. Logan, he says, Doomcock, the fact that you are an old softy underneath like me is where all the rage comes from at Hollyweird pissing on the classics that make you and me feel genuine emotion. How dare they? Yes, that is so well said, Logan Darklighter, that I can't even add to it. It eloquently sums up exactly why I fight so much. You know, they say that we're haters out there in the shill media. I say that to hate strongly, you have to love strongly. There is no such thing as just pure hate. There's something there. There's a pain, there's a loss, there's a love underlying it all, that rather than shed tears, you would prefer to shed blood, metaphorically speaking. And that is the tack that I take. Thank you, Logan Darklighter. Abby Olace, one of my Legionnaires and one of Doomcock's darlings, a group that they founded, not I. Thank you for the super chat, Abby. She says, Rutger was a legend. He will be missed. Absolutely. Amen, Abby. Amen. Thank you for being here today. Marcus Jose, another of my Legionnaires. Thank you, Marcus, for the super chat. He says, hey, DC, great to see you. Sorry I can't stay, but I'm at work and I've got a lot of preparation for the next episode of the podcast. It's about Vic. Very good. Marcus Jose is one of the members of the Common Man cast, which consists entirely of my Legionnaires. And I'm very proud that they've gone off and started this channel and this podcast on their own. And God bless you, Marcus. I'm glad to hear that you're going to pick up the cause of Vic Mignogna a great Star Trek fan and somebody who really, really gets it. And I wish that they would let him take over Star Trek. I think he'd do a fantastic job. Cardinal Sin. Hello, Cardinal Sin. Thank you for the super chat and thank you for this compliment. He says, your imitations of all the characters are the best. Uh, well, thank you, Cardinal Sin. I just got your latest package, and I wanted to thank you for sending me all those discs and for your wonderful letter. I enjoy your letters very much, and I look forward to the day when we will chat in person and trade impressions. I know your Christopher. I can't wait to hear your Christopher Walken. It's going to be fantastic. Thank you, Cardinal Sin, brother. You are the best. And I think probably at the end of this live stream, I will go ahead and do the famous monologue in honor of Rutger Hauer, in memoriam as a tribute. So yeah, as we wrap this up, I'll go ahead and do that as well. Marcus Jost, thank you again, sir. He says, just had to come back and say R.I.P. Christopher Lee. Amen, Marcus Jost, amen. I've already spoken about Christopher Lee's greatness, and really you could go on and on and on about how great Christopher Lee is and was and always will be. Thank God that we have him whenever we need him. Thank you, Marcus. Ryan Ferguson, thank you for the super chat, Ryan, again. And he says, it's still a shocker that Robin Williams died even 5 years later. Yeah, and the circumstances of it are, yeah, yeah. I don't want to talk about that, but I will say that depression is a horrible disease. Depression is insidious. It can hit any of us at any time. And because, sadness is one thing. Sadness is a reaction to events and circumstances, but depression is something even beyond sorrow. It's something that is insidious and can take a grip. And once it sinks its claws in, it's very, very difficult to get them out again. And I would just urge anyone out there who has experienced depression or is experiencing depression now to please do seek help and know that you're not alone, and, know that it can get better. I myself have experienced periods of depression, so I know what I'm talking about. Certainly not as great as Robin Williams or Anthony Bourdain or any of the people who actually take that horrible, horrible step. But yeah, seek help, please. Please reach out to. There's helplines. There's people counseling. Don't let those claws sink in too deep. Always, always, always reach out for help, please. Loquacious Primate with a couple of super chats here. Thank you very much, Loquacious Primate. I very much appreciate these. Loquacious Primate says, great cinema, like all great art, can do more than entertain. It provides an opportunity to step outside of ourselves and see the world with new eyes. And like characters in those stories, the community of people we share it with gives those new eyes a new world to see and experience together. Well said, Loquacious Primate. Very well said. Thank you very much. I'm very proud to have you as a Xanadu mirror and a supporter, the center of the earth. And thank you for that eloquent statement. Yes, great art definitely does more than entertain. Man needs art, needs inspiration, needs tales to tell and to share as badly as we need food or air or water. We will die more quickly without food or air or water, but without stories and without art, without poetry, our souls languish, our souls perish. And that's every bit as important as our lives, don't you think? Thank you, Loquacious Primate. 80s, totally awesome. Thank you for being here, my friend. Thank you for the super chat. Says, when someone dies, as long as they are remembered, they live on in us. Love you, DC. Hugs, Blade Runner for life. Hugs back, 80s totally awesome. Love you too, brother. Thank you for being here. I'm really glad that you were able to join us today. And also, man, have you released your video? I want to see it. Please shoot me a link. I know I've been meaning to contact you. Oh my God, I'm so buried. I'm so behind. And then all these stories today that I need to do videos on. I just there's just not enough hours in the day. Thank you, 80s totally awesome. Action Com with a super chat. Thank you. Action Com says, I'll mourn by watching the movie Blind Fury. The time Hollywood decided to make a great actor into a martial artist instead of a great martial artist into an actor. Pure fun was had by all. I have not seen Blind Fury, but I will absolutely check that out. I will add that to the list. It is available on Amazon Prime and Vudu, Google Play, etc. I will check it out. Thank you so much, my friend. Good recommendation. Tracy Wilborn is here. Thank you, Tracy, for the super chat. Tracy says, moving on is a simple thing. What it leaves behind is hard. You know, the sleeping feel no more pain, and the living are scarred. Yeah, it's true. It's hardest on the living, I think. I mean, I've never experienced it before. I hope I won't for a long time, but you know, it is the living who grieve. Loss. Loss is the thing that makes life so sweet. It really is. Without loss, without the falling of the autumn leaves, how would we ever appreciate the buds of spring? How would we ever appreciate a song that never ended, that just went on and on and on and on? How would we ever appreciate Beethoven's Fifth if Beethoven's Fifth was ongoing in a loop? Loss is the wisdom of the universe. Loss is something that gives our lives meaning. And as hard as that is to accept, it is true. A never-ending story is a story with no point. And we just have to remember that this is part of the beauty of life, is moving on. It really is. It hurts, but ultimately, how wonderful is it to feel anything at all? Thank you, Tracy Wilborn. Me the Bat with a super chat. Thank you, Me the Bat. Says, I still say that Rutger would have made a great Lestat. I have always pictured him in my head when I read them. I agree 1,000%. Me the Bat, 1,000%. I think he would have been incredible. And it just breaks my heart that they didn't have him do it. I'm not knocking Tom Cruise. I like Tom Cruise, but he wasn't Lestat. In my opinion, he wasn't Lestat. So, yeah. Somebody like Sting would have also made a great Lestat in his prime, you know? Sting was the model for Constantine in the comics, in actual fact. I mean, he's even drawn like Sting. I think he would have been perfect. Sting had a great presence. It's too bad. Yeah, he wasn't in a whole lot of movies. But he could have been cool. Cardinal Sin, thank you, Cardinal Sin, again for the super chat. He says, I raise my glass to the one and only Rutger Hauer. I only have water here, but I will drink that water and say cheers. Thank you, Cardinal Sin. Dr. Coffin Nails, thank you for the super chat and for this sentiment. He says, the president's analyst is also one of my faves. 100%. It is a great movie. It is hilarious. It is cool. It is weird. And I absolutely recommend it. Would you like my opinion as a trained psychiatrist of all this? Why, yes, doctor, I would. You're a megalomaniac and the phone company is psychotic. Oh, those of you who know the movie will know what I'm talking about. Check out The President's Analyst. It's absolutely fantastic. Warren Roar, thank you for the super chat, Warren Roar. Appreciate that very much. And Warren says, been fighting Thor 4, and I'm a male piss baby now. No, you are not, sir. You are a canon warrior, God damn it. And I'm proud to be fighting at your side. And we are together kicking ass and taking SJW names, and we're not going to stop. They can call us whatever the hell they want. We're not going to stop. Don't know how to stop. Stop it in my vocabulary, which is probably why I get so many speeding tickets. Well, traffic tickets. It's not speeding, but yeah. Not knowing stop is probably not a good strategy for driving. Just saying. Thank you, Warren Roar. GG, thank you for this super chat. GG says, I'd like to believe that Rutger somewhere can see this transmission and know he was loved. Great stuff as usual, Doomcock, and bless you. Thank you, GG. I appreciate that. I'm glad you all were here today to be with me, just to share this with your friends in the chat and family, and we really have the very best chat on YouTube, and you guys are awesome. Project Cobra says Deckard is not a replicant. Hail, Project Cobra, great to see you. I disagree, but we can certainly disagree. Reverend Bernfried Axwielder says Jane Foster Thor is not canon, it's Disney. There's only one God of Thunder, at least for the Vikings. Absolutely agree. Javier Vega says Rutger Hauer would have made a good Lestat, but Tom Cruise knocked it out of the park. I respectfully disagree. I thought he was okay, but I think Rutger Hauer would have been better. But we can certainly agree to disagree and still be friends. That's one of the wonderful things about the Fandom Menace, isn't it? We can debate without getting personal or leveling personal attacks. You guys, even when you disagree with me, you are still my brothers and sisters, and I love you. Ancient Mariner says, this is too much. I'm off to join my friends Jack and Johnny to cheer me up. Have at least a decent day, Doomcock, and great people on the chat. Cheers, brother. Don't drink too much. Or if you do drink a lot, stay hydrated. Take a glass of water for every drink you take. Your hangover will trust you in the morning, or your lack thereof. Thank you, Warren. Craig Murray. Ha ha. Very funny. Harvey's thoughts on the passing of Rutger Hauer. Nicholas Horton. Well, Harvey's not talking. Harvey actually, I think, is sad. He told me to say, and he said that we would never talk of this again. But he said that Rutger Hauer dying is making him question destroying the universe. So Harvey was deeply moved. Harvey loves Blade Runner. And I think maybe Harvey learned a little something about being human today. Maybe he did. He'll forget in the morning, though. He's hell-bent on destroying the universe. What can I say? Gosh. Stern and Colonel, when I see Portman, I will always see Amidala, as will we all. She's a great actress, by the way. She deserved a lot better than the script she got for the prequels, but what can you do? Matthew Anderson asks, speaking about Tom Cruise, what do you think about the new Top Gun censoring out the Japanese and Taiwanese flags off of Maverick's jacket to appease China? I think that's crap. I'm sorry. I look, I'm opposed to anything like that. It's just, man up, cowboy up, Hollywood. Go ahead and take the hit of a few bucks to save your own integrity. Maybe then we won't think of you quite as such damnable sellouts, you know? You really Hollywood should be more than a goddamn donkey show in Tijuana, okay? So stop acting that way. Start manning up and try to fucking have a little bit of integrity, please. Montgomery Barnclay says Portman can't act. She's wooden in everything she's ever done, apart from Leon the Professional when she was 12. Well, Montgomery Barnclay, I saw a movie where she was, God, I can't remember the name of the movie, but she was brilliant in it. And she was young. I think she was maybe 13 or something like that. It was with God, Timothy Hutton, where she's ice skating out there and he's kind of adrift in his life, and he's much much older than she is, obviously, and they just have such a genuine connection. And she says, when I grow up, you know maybe you'll still be around. It was not at all pedophilia. It was like two people who were soulmates. There was never any kind of anything improper towards them, but she was brilliant in that. So I have to give her credit. I thought she was amazing in that. She just and yeah, she's just not right for Thor. I'll just say that. Um uh Adam Demoy with a super chat. Thank you, Adam, very much for that. Says JJ is going to target Babylon 5 at Warner Brothers. The shadows win this time. Ugh. Oh, yeah, that's my fear. I'm just hoping that J. Michael Straczynski has enough power to stop that. I think it's in a legal tangle. I think that he's got certain rights to it, and I'm just praying to God that somehow he will not allow this perversion to take place. Because if Jar Jar Abrams gets a hold of Babylon 5, kiss it goodbye. Kiss it absolutely goodbye. The man kills everything he touches. Thank you, Adam. Mr. Napsky with a super chat. Thank you, Mr. Napsky. He says, my Lord Doomcock, please watch I, Claudius. Is it I, Claudia? You said I, Claudia, but I'm assuming you meant I, Claudius. It has Patrick Stewart as a villain and is one of the best miniseries. Great writing and acting. Mr. Napsky, I believe I saw that years and years and years ago, but I will see if I can track it down. I recently subscribed to BritBox because I wanted to watch all of the Doctor Who's from start to finish at last. I mean, I've not seen every single one. There's some doctors I've not, whole doctors I've not watched. So I just want to start to finish, watch some Doctor Who. But if it's on there, I will also check it out. I've heard, I mean, it's famous, and I know it's great. And I've either never seen it or I saw it when I was too young to really remember. But I will check it out, Mr. Napsky. Thank you very much. Angel Angelus with a super chat and a recommendation. Thank you, Angel Angelus. He says, or she says, also try watching Uncle Buck. Awesome movie, freaking hilarious. John Candy at its best. Also, Lee played both Sherlock and Mycroft Holmes. Well, that would be good to see Christopher Lee, Sherlock Holmes, and also Mycroft. Hell, I'd love that. I will have to check that out. I did not actually know that. Thank you, Angel Angelus. I got to tell you, Jeremy Brett's Sherlock Holmes is the definitive Sherlock Holmes in my mind. Boy, his A Scandal in Bohemia is the single greatest iteration of Holmes, the single best Holmes movie or show or whatever, cinematically told tale that I've ever seen. Check it out if you haven't seen it. KM with a super chat. Thank you, KM, very much. Says DVD, keeping with the theme of loss. I grew up on The Witcher in the 90s, and to see it ruined by Hollywood hurts my soul. Everything is getting ruined. Yeah, everything is, KM, and I've never seen The Witcher, but I absolutely sympathize as someone who has suffered the slings and arrows of outrageous revision. I can tell you it hurts my soul too. It hurts so bad. But boy, the worm may just be turning for Star Trek fans. May just be turning. I cannot really believe the stuff I'm hearing, but at last, we may have some salvation on the horizon for Star Trek. I pray that this is the case. Rolo Cat with a super chat here. Thank you, Rolo Cat, very much. Says an artist cannot fail. It is a success to be one. Hail to my wise and benevolent overlord. Hail to the chat. Thank you, Rolo Cat. What a beautiful sentiment. Yes. I would rather live a life of impoverished art than I would live a life of soulless corporate success. You know, to go in to a horrible cold office every day in a goddamn suit, have to listen to megalomaniacs and petty narcissists, blow hard all day, then go home and wonder what the hell happened to my life. Yeah. I consider myself to be an artist, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I am also, just oddly enough, an artist who will one day rule the world with supreme power. So, when I take over, there's going to be a hell of a goddamn lot of changes in this place. So be prepared, people. Be prepared. Project Cobra says, Rutger Hauer is a big chunk of my childhood. I'm hoping Peter Wood wakes up and gives Sean Young some work at last. She has suffered enough. Project Cobra, you and I have a deep and abiding love of Sean Young. She was gorgeous. She was wonderful. And I absolutely echo everything that you just said. Rannick Eisenkral says, as I said before, do not get your hopes up. It will make the disappointment all the more painful. You're right, Rannick. I'm not getting my hopes up, but I owe you guys the truth at all times. And so, when I sense a barometric change on the horizon, I go ahead and report it. I don't editorialize about it necessarily, except to say that, it's just a feeling in my bones. I got a feeling in my bones that maybe there's a weather front coming in and maybe it's going to look a lot better. It's possible. It's possible. Patrick Stewart and Brian Blessed are in I, Claudius. Javier Vega says, well, of course, Brian Blessed's in everything. I'm Brian Blessed. God, what a guy. He was in Blake 7 as well. He was in Blackadder, which is one of my favorite roles of his. And of course, King of the Hawkmen, right? In Flash. He'll save every one of us. Thank you very much, Javier Vega. Nicholas Horton. I've watched every episode of Jeremy Brett's Sherlock Holmes series several times. The Hound of the Baskervilles is my favorite story. I loved A Scandal in Bohemia. I love how that ends with Holmes playing his violin forlornly in his study. He always referred to her with the honorific of the woman. Na, 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 na. Ah, what a great show. Stan Lee saying, we'll take up arms against a sea of troubles and by opposing end them. Yes, but not in a Hamlet-y ending way, but in a rebel yell way, yell way. Genius Fool, the Irrefutable. Also, check out the British original House of Cards with the late, great, and wonderfully diabolical Ian Richardson. To me, that is the only version of House of Cards, Genius Fool, the Irrefutable. The only version. And it is brilliant. If you have not seen it, it is wonderfully Shakespearean, with the villain looking at the camera and delivering monologues, much like Richard III. Hecate's Daughter says, let me not lose my poetry. I would shrivel up and die. As a Legionnaire, I hope that you take over soon. Hope Brian Fuller sues or CBS or people working for CBS, basically ripping off his idea without even giving him creator's credit, which is sleazy. Brian Blessed plays Octavian in I, Claudius. What a guy. Hammer says, The light that burns twice as bright burns half as long, and you have burned so brightly, Roy. Exactly. Exactly. Brian Blessed was in 2 episodes of Space 1999, and he wasn't too loud, LOL, says Natasha Cloutier. Absolutely. What a great guy. And I want to thank again Chris Persia, who recently sent me at my P.O. box the entire series of Blade Runner, Blade Runner, of Space 1999 on Blu-ray. Space 1999 on Blu-ray. Thank you, Chris. I really appreciate it very, very, very much. We've got a super chat here from Cardinal Sin. Again, thank you, Cardinal Sin, for the super chat. He says, Stuart Townsend was Lestat. He inhabited him. I've not seen that movie, so I can't really comment. But if you say that is so, I guess I better give it a look. I have to say, I've read the Lestat books and I enjoyed them very much. I mean, not all of them. I think I stopped at the third one, The Vampire Lestat, I think was the last one I read. Or maybe Queen of the Damned, I'm not sure. But it was cool. I thought Anne Rice has a good facility with language. I mean, she gets a little bodice rippy at times and a little bit, well, you know, sexually diverse in a way that is not really me. But overall, I have to say I like it a lot. Thank you, Cardinal Sin. Thor Draco with a super chat. Thank you so much, Thor Draco, for the super chat. Says, my liege, depression steals your happiness. Robert Howard, split second. Thank you for leading the fight for our heritage and entertainment. Your Minister of Shadows, Shadow Dragon. My Minister of Shadows. Thor Draco, my friend, you are awesome. It's so good to hear from you. I support you always. You've been a great friend to me, and I always want to be a great friend to you. Always reach out to me if you need me. I am here for you, my friend. Thank you for that. Jalapeno Milk with a $2 super chat. Thank you, Jalapeno Milk, says, thought R must be stopped. Thor must be stopped, spelled with a THOTR. Masculinity is missing. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And it should absolutely be stopped. Thank you very much, Jalapeno Milk, for that super chat. Vienna Wells with an enormous super chat, 300 euro super chat. Vienna Wells, thank you so very, very, very much for that super chat. That is very generous of you, and you were very generous to me yesterday. And it's really an honor to see you here, and I'm very grateful for that. God, thank you so much. Vienna Wells says, Hauer played the most moving soliloquies in cinema. It's known Hauer ended up writing some of it himself the night before shooting, cutting away swaths and ending the speech's poignant final line like tears in rain. It was not improvising it on set. What do you think Philip K. Dick would have thought? It is a great sadness that Philip K. Dick did not quite live long enough to see Blade Runner, in my understanding. I mean, I think he saw some footage from it, but I think he died before he saw the actual movie. Authors are very funny about their work. I mean, I can understand it that all of them have mental pictures of what their world is like and what the characters are like. So it's no surprise that he might have felt a little strange about it, a little weird. But I can tell you that I think in retrospect, if he had a little more time, a little more distance to live with it a while, I think he would have been extremely impressed at this vision of the future. I would hope so. I'd very much hope so, Vienna. You know, Philip K. Dick is another one who sadly experienced um, delusions, you know, mental instability in his life. And he also experienced something rather amazing that maybe we can talk about tomorrow in the Exozone, where he was visited by a visitor, and he opened the door and he was bathed in a pink light and given the information that his son was suffering from a disease that would prove fatal if not treated immediately. It was either him or his son. I can't remember the details. And he went to the doctor, and indeed, it was the case. So you can say to some extent that Philip K. Dick was deluded, and to another extent, you can say that Philip K. Dick lived a mystical life with perceptions far beyond ours. So it's just a fascinating subject, fascinating guy. Thank you very much, Vienna Wells. You are very kind and very generous, and I appreciate your support here and in Xanadu. Chility Larash with a super chat here. Thank you, Chility Larash, who says, quite an experience to live in fear, isn't it? That's what it is to be a slave. Let's honor Roy Batty's words and not be slaves to social justice. Amen. Amen. That is a great quote and a great super chat, Chility Larash. Goddamn well said. Because really, in terms of social media, when you're on Facebook, when you're on Twitter, we're all, in a sense, being made to feel as if we should live in fear. We should live in fear of our own thoughts, of expressing them, of the language that we use to express them. They will take anything you say, no matter how innocuous, and twist it and use it against you, trying to stifle not only your speech, but your very thought processes, to get you to disrupt your own thought processes rather than risk expressing something that will bring the SJW hordes down on your head. I don't give a fuck. I just go ahead and say what I'm going to say. I don't live in that fear. But even the best of us still has to think twice. Think once, think twice. Think, don't drive your car on the sidewalk. And be careful what you say. It's just, what a world. What a world. But I think we're winning, people. I think we're winning. I really do. I really do. I think things are moving at CBS with Star Trek. We have saved the Orville. We have saved the Expanse. Disney has been tied in knots trying to, quote, deal with the trolls, but it really means having to deal with the fandom menace. They discontinued certain movies like the Obi-Wan thing, the Boba Fett standalone, because we spoke, because we hit them so hard with Solo. Time and time again, they're making us feel like we're in despair. They're making us feel like we're losing. But I tell you, people, we're winning. Don't lose heart. Thank you, Chility Larash. Michelle P. With a super chat, my Legionnaire and one of Doomcock's darlings. Thank you, Michelle P. Who says, for Rutger, hail his memory. Thank you, Doomcock. Thank you very much, Michelle. I appreciate that. And I want to send a shout out of thanks and praise to Mary Ashmead, who stepped up without any warning and came here. I'm sure she had plans with her day, and I just explained I had to go on, and she volunteered to come. She didn't have to, and I just want to say thank you to Mary Ashmead, who is also one of Doomcock's darlings and one of Doomcock's Legionnaires and a friend to boot. Thank you, Mary Ashmead, for being the best wrench wench on YouTube. I appreciate you very, very much. Go ahead and send a little M to Mary for appreciation in the chat, if you would, please. And finally, we come to a super chat from Angel Angelus again. Thank you, Angel Angelus, very, very much for this. And Angel says, a question, Lord. Considering your thoughts on canon, what is your take on the Lord of the Rings expansion with the Shadow of Mordor / War video game series? I don't have a problem with that. Look, games are one thing. Maybe I'm mistaken or narrow-minded, but I view games as just for fun. I don't view any game as being part of any kind of canon or you know, bounding being bound by any universe or something. I think it's entirely different. It's just meant as a goof, as fun, as amusement. I generally do not consider video games to be literature. So I see no harm in going ahead and expanding it any way they want to in games. I mean, it's just not something that I consider when I'm looking at stories or anything like that. um, all right, I'm glad to see all the M's flying in the chat. And Thor Draco has a wonderful chat here. He says the definition of terrorism is keeping people living in fear. What does MSNBC and Fox News do every day? Well said. Well said. All the news outlets basically are trying to get us to keep living in fear. Pleasant Valley Picker CA says, excellent of Doomcock to do this live tribute to Rutger Hauer. Thank you. I'm glad that you guys came, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. I felt a great need to do this. Like I said, I really couldn't afford it in terms of the time, but when something like this happens, I want to be here with you guys and for you guys, and I will always try to do that. You know, even on Christmas and Thanksgiving when we did our live streams then, because I know a lot of people are alone on Thanksgiving and Christmas, and God damn it, we're a family here. We are a community, and I want us all. I don't want anybody to feel. I want everyone to feel that. I want everyone to feel part of that community. So I want to thank you guys so much for being here. I hope that this helped you. It helped me to talk through these feelings and share this with you. And Jack the narrator with another super chat. Thank you, Jack. He says, if you get a chance, check out Confessions of a Dangerous Mind. Hauer had a great supporting role opposite Sam Rockwell as a veteran Cold War assassin. I'd never seen that because yeah, that whole thing, the idea that the host of the Gong Show was actually a CIA spy seems patently absurd to me. But listen, if Rutger Hauer is in there, I need to check that out. Rennick Eisenkral, good night. If you could just stay a moment, I'm going to go ahead and do that final monologue for all of you, just as a tribute and a shout out to Rutger Hauer. But I want to thank everyone for being here. I want to thank you for all of your support and friendship. And if you'll permit me, I cannot do this justice like Rutger could, but I do this from time to time just out of love and out of tribute to the greatest movie monologue in history and the greatest performance in a science fiction film, perhaps of all time. Oh, and thank you, Rannick Eisenkral. I've got mail from you. I will check it out. That's one of the things I got to do. Messages, phone messages, emails, everything. Thank you, my friends. And this is for you, Rutger. I've seen things you people wouldn't believe. Attack ships on fire off the shoulder of Orion. I've watched sea beams glitter in the dark near the Tannhauser gates. All those moments will be lost in time, like tears in rain. Time to die. Rest in peace, Rutger Hauer. God bless you. I won't say that you will be missed. I will instead say that you will be remembered. And every time I see that monologue, It's going to really drive that point home. From the center of the earth, this is Dictor Van Dubkock. Bidding you all, my friends, stay angry.